Hi, Coach Sean here, Coach in Your Corner. Let's have another chat today. This one is kind of really real to me, raw to me, even though it's a few years down the line. Resilience and the miracle. I want to really tell you about it. An incredible miracle my family and I experienced, and I'm hoping I can get through this without too much emotion. So we immigrated to the USA in 2018. We arrived here April of 2018, middle of April 2018. May, we're still trying to find our feet, get ourselves established. It's a whole new world, a whole new realm we're working in here, and we're trying to find our feet. It's difficult. It was stressful. May, June, my youngest son, he was at that stage 19 years old. One night he crawls into our room, my wife and I, and he's in extreme pain. And at first, when he first spoke to us early in the evening, he said, "I think I've got indigestion." And then he said, "Let me take two Tylenol because I'm starting to feel sore." And by about 10 o'clock that night, he crawled into our room in extreme pain. We picked him up and raced him over to the hospital, which was a block away from us at that point in time. And they immediately, we first took him to urgent care because we just thought maybe it's appendix or something like that. And they then raced him to ER, and there they did a CAT scan, and the doctor walked into the room. This is the hard part. Whew. So it's got a good outcome though. This is still very raw and very real to me. And but here goes. I just think that, I was talking about resilience last week, and I was just thinking today and I just did a short on a player that sort of came back from a very difficult injury, and he pushed through and became one of the best players of the year. So then I thought about my son, and I thought, here's a story of resilience. I should tell that, I should tell you how incredible resilience is. And anyway, so the doctor walks into our room at 1 o'clock that morning, closes the door. My son is on morphine. He's kind of nearly out of it, and I'm sitting there. The doctor walks in and he says, closes the door, and I knew, when he closes the door, this is like not good. And he says, "This is the worst night of my career." And when shock hits you like a wave, it just like flooded over me. And at that point in time, I didn't know what to do. And he said, "Your son's got a tumor." So I said, "Well, like how big?" "A nut, orange?" He said, "No, the size of a saucepan, 20 centimeters by 7 centimeters. My heart sank. My son, out of his sleep, pain relief sleep, sat bolt upright on the bed. And the doctor walked out. We both just cried. Over the next 9-10 months, it became a journey of war. We had to fight every inch of the way. They immediately put him into harsh chemo to try and reduce this thing, and nothing happened. The last oncology meeting we had was he's going to lose his left kidney, probably lose some mobility in his left leg. We're going to have to restructure his aorta system. The CAT scan just shows this thing is embedded in everything. But his resilience of faith, when we got into the car at that point in time to drive home, I couldn't drive. I was a mess at that point in time. I was falling apart. And he said to me, he said, "Dad, you're struggling." And I said, "Yes, I am." And he said, "Don't." He said, "I'm fine. I'm going to be fine." He said, "I had an experience the other night." And I said, "Really?" And he said, "Yes. A light came into my room and I heard Jesus say, 'You're going to be fine. You're going to make it.'" Well, he did. He more than made it. 2 weeks later, he had 7 hours of surgery. And when they opened him up, miraculously, that tumor had lifted off every aorta, off every tissue, of every organ, so that all they had to do was remove it. Nothing else was touched in his body. He recovered miraculously quick. I as his dad and as a coach, I just stuck with him 24/7. I stopped working and I just devoted my life to him. I slept next to his bed to help him get up and take his medications and remind him of which ones to take right through the night, right through the day, every day. We watched Band of Brothers. We watched Pacific, the Pacific, whatever, the series on the Pacific War. We watched Vikings. We watched The Kingdom. We watched all those things together. And I've got my earbud in my ear. It kind of feels like it's falling out all the time. But we got through all of that, and recovery was quick, but it felt like forever. In the end, he recovered, and he's alive. The amazing thing is that 4 years later, 3-4 years later, he got to come and play rugby with me. And I got to coach my son. This is hard. What resilience. Resilience of faith, resilience of mindset, resilience in the face of death, in the face of fear. He just never quit. He went to community college. He studied in community college, got such a good GPA that a college approached him and asked him to come and study there. And that's where I ended up. He passed got his degree, cum laude, however you say that, and but played rugby for 2 years as one of the strongest players on the field. He helped and contributed to our little team taking third place in our division that season, and that was my privilege, you know. So we don't always know what we have to face in life. We don't always anticipate all the challenges we're going to have, all the trials, all the setbacks, the failures, the put downs. We don't always know what the outcome is going to be. We didn't know at that point in time. It was a death sentence in a sense. But we just chose to stay in the fight. Every day we would get in the car, I would say to him, today we fight. Today we go as if we're going to win today. I believe, I tell my rugby players this every time we get on the field and for practice. So we don't win tournaments, we don't win games at the tournament on a Saturday. We win the game at every practice. We win tournaments at the practice every single time we arrive there. We've got to give it our dedication, our devotion, our determination, and our discipline so that we win. We stay in the fight. And really, my son didn't just survive. He came back stronger. I've written this down. And I got to coach him on the field again. And it's a miracle and it's a memory I will never forget. I never tire in telling the story, and I never ceases to touch me deeply, because how grateful I am. But what an astounding example of resilience. I really felt like I needed to share this today. I think, you may be sitting wherever you are, whatever you're facing, whatever you're going through, and all I want to say to you is don't quit. You may be sitting, in tears. You may be feeling like the world is overwhelming. You might be waking up in the middle of the night saying, what do I do now? I don't know what to do now. How do I cope with this? And all I can say to you is don't give up. You'll find a way. Keep pressing in. Keep pressing through. You don't have to be some superstar. And as I've said before, you don't need a crowd, but you just press in and press through. You will see your miracle. You just need to stay in the fight. The English swimmers have a sign on their cloakroom door, and that says, galas are won every day in the pool. And I want to tell you, is life is won every day that you get up and put another foot in front, think again, try again, in the face of fear, in the face of, listen, we were scared. It was one of the scariest times of my life. And the thought of losing my son was more than I could bear. But we stayed in the fight every day. And you don't fight alone. That's the exciting thing. You don't fight alone. I'm not the only coach in your corner, God is in your corner as well. And He wants to help you fight. And so just don't quit. Don't give up till they bury you. Don't give up. And that's kind of the story I wanted to share with you today and encourage you with that. This is resilience. Stay resilient. Even when the evidence is against you, even when the reports are against you, just keep believing, keep pressing, keep facing it. I'm telling you, that's what champions are made of. It's not where the crowds are. That's where you become the champion, where nobody sees. All right. So, apologize for the emotion. I don't edit my videos. It's just still today when I tell the story, it affects me deeply, and how grateful I am that I have that privilege. So now I do it with other young men, but that specific privilege was something I can never pay for, I could never buy. I don't think anybody can understand a dad's heart when you have that privilege. All right, so hey, be strong, be grateful for everything that you have in your life, and don't quit. All right, till next time, thanks for hanging.